On the 27th and 28th of May 1994 in Palmerston North, the Ag reunion was held. This was the 45th anniversary of aerial top dressing in New Zealand. Friday night was spent registering and getting to know and meet again all the old mates from the past who flew and loaded super. On the Saturday afternoon, a top dressing display at Feilding Airport was shown, and here all types of aircraft, mainly from the top dressing era, were shown doing their stuff. This was culminated on Saturday night with a huge dino dance, a big band, and some more get-togethers, reminiscing and talking about the past. So sit back for the next 2 to 3 hours, and we hope you enjoy and see some faces that you've recognised in the past, and brings back a little bit of nostalgia for you. So let's take it from here.
And now also next to Bob Scott is Berwick Dalcombe, who's been responsible for hundreds of pilots flying in this area. Berwick Dalcombe, who's been involved in top dressing since its beginning. Just a couple of words, Berwick. This is going through our TV, which will our video.
Well, thank you for the opportunity of saying much, but saying something, but I can't say very much. It's all here. All anything I ever did was all represented here by the fellows that I did teach a few of them to fly and go top dressing, but it's been a great thrill to come back here and see so many of them still going and doing very well indeed. And I'm very thankful for the opportunity of being with you all. Thank you.
Hi, Aussie James.
Yes.
Hi, I understand you've been in the aviation business for some time.
Yes, 1949.
Started in 1949. How'd you start that, Aussie?
Well, I started through the support of the Soil Conservation Council dating back to 1948. And through that I went to the States, made a study of aviation and came back. And with a friend named Doug Gregg from Auckland, we formed a top dressing company. Did all that trial work in 1949 and then started in the Waikato thereafter.
And what sort of aircraft did you start with in the Waikato top dressing?
We started with Tiger Moths, with 23 of those ultimately, then to Beavers, and a series of airplanes.
Right. And did you go into other fields in aviation, or was it just straight top dressing?
No, we've been in the tourist business and passenger operation. We bought the first helicopter into New Zealand. We went into aircraft manufacture, and we built the Fletcher aeroplanes. We operated in Australia and the Pacific. Now, it's been a pretty wide flying interest.
Excellent. And what are you doing yourself these days? You're here for the 45th anniversary reunion.
I'm loving every second of it, seeing so many friends and associates, people you haven't seen for years. So it's down memory lane. It's very special.
Oh, very good. Okay, well, we'll catch you on the weekend and we'll see you around, and we hope you enjoy yourself.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks. Well, here we are for the 45th Ag Pilots Reunion, 1994. Are you a pilot yourself or been in the aviation field?
I'm an engineer.
Engineer with who? Oh, what's your name anyway? Can't see your tag there.
Danny Daniels.
Danny Daniels, okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been in the aviation?
Many, many years, and that's my pilot there.
That your pilot?
Tom Masters.
Tom Masters. And
Yep.
you two sort of worked together. He flew the plane and you kept it in the air.
That's correct, yes.
Oh, well, Tom Masters. We go and see Tom Masters there, and with
secretary, by the way.
Your secretary, Natalie Rebel. Okay. Well, we're going to see Tom and...
And that's her husband.
That's her husband, Arthur Rebel. We're going to see Tom Masters. He looks like a fairly old mate there, and you should be able to tell a few stories. Should be able to tell a few stories. Okay, we're going to see old Tom over here. Keep it going. All right.
Well, I never flown in my life.
Okay, Tom.
Wasn't me.
Now, how long have you been flying, or when did you start flying, Tom?
Oh, about 1950.
And what did you start flying in? What sort of aircraft were you flying in?
Oh, modern Tiger Moth stuff.
Tiger Moth. The old gypsies?
No. No, I'm not that old.
You're not that old, okay. And where else did you start flying, Tom?
Down on Palmerston.
Palmerston.
Yeah.
Oh, who for?
Oh, the Aero Club.
The Aero Club?
Yep.
And when you have to do the old top dressing, when you start doing that?
Wanganui.
Wanganui?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, and you're flying Tiger Moths then?
Yep.
And did you go up to any other aircraft and the Fletchers and that sort of thing?
Oh, no. I got on the Piper Cubs, though.
Piper Cubs?
Yep.
Oh, the old Piper Cub squad, eh?
Yep.
I heard a few stories about that. You got any little jokes or little stories you can tell us about the old Piper Cub sort of losing a wing or losing a wheel?
Nothing I can tell you here.
No, you can tell us here.
Helicopters too.
You flew helicopters?
Oh, that was later.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
What sort of helicopters were you flying then?
Oh, just little ones.
Little Hellas?
Hellas, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
The Bells? Flying the Bells at all?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
The old Nash aircraft, the old 47Es, weren't they? The old Bells? 47Gs.
Yeah,
The
47
Hallett 12Es?
Yeah, that's it.
Right. That's good.
Yep.
Where else did you fly those?
Taupo.
Taupo?
Yep.
All top dressing?
Spraying.
All spraying?
Yep.
Oh, it's good, Tom. Oh, well, we'll cut it here and we'll see you tomorrow and tomorrow night. Of course, we'll be back here again.
Yeah, I might be here.
You might
Yep.
be here, right? I think you will be. I hope you haven't scared you off, all right? Have a good weekend. Righto, who we got here?
Mark Smith.
Okay, Mark, and who do you load drive for?
Edge Noah's loader driver.
Who? Who?
Edge Noah's loader driver.
Well, I read on the profiles that coming through the door there, okay, and who do you load for?
Peter Irvine.
Who's he?
Falcon Aviation Ring Europe.
Oh.
How you going, Peter?
Oh, there's Peter Elvin. And what do you do, Peter?
Ag pilot.
Ag pilot. And when did you start doing ag work?
About 1971.
1971. Bit of an old timer or just starting out?
Just a chicken, yeah.
Oh, right. And what sort of aircraft did you start flying in?
Pawnee.
The Port Air. Good little air. Oh, right, yep. And whereabouts?
Rangiora.
Rangiora? All flat country down there, no hills, eh?
Hey, what? Bloody hills. Banks Peninsula, mate. Like this.
All right. And what sort of spraying we're doing in there? Just everything?
Just top dressing here.
Just straight top dressing. No spray. And were you there all the time in Canterbury, or have you moved around the country a bit?
Yeah, we've done a bit here and there, but down South Canterbury, but down Dunedin.
All right, and still in the air now at the moment?
Yep.
And what are you flying? What sort of aircraft are you flying now?
Agwagon.
Oh, the old Agwagon, the noise little things, aren't they?
No, we got a real good one. Got a good prop on it, nice and quiet. Environmentally friendly.
Environmentally friendly, that's the way, that's what we like to hear, us Squeedies, we like to hear this environmentally friendly stuff, yeah, right.
So, yeah, no, we've been into Pawnees, 300 Fletchers, 400 Fletchers, and now we're back to an Agwagon, yeah.
Oh, it's good. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy the weekend, seeing all the old mates around here in the 45th, and we'll have a good show tomorrow with a bit of luck, and another good show tomorrow night.
Good stuff, yeah, crack it.
Okay, Peter, thanks very much, and we'll catch you later. Okay, here we got three like-looking lads here, the three amigos. We got Robin Thurston on our left, we got Bob Cranston on our centre, and we got Brian Sherlock. How's it going, Brian? What do you think of the night so far?
Oh, absolutely brilliant, mate, brilliant.
Okay, and you were top dressing yourself at all?
No, I was just loader driving.
Loaded driving for who?
Bob Cranston.
Bob Cranston, so you're the man on the wings?
Was.
And when did you start doing the old top dressing, Bob?
1962, boss.
1962, and what in?
In a Fletcher.
In a Fletcher, right. And whereabouts were you flying?
In Wanganui.
Wanganui. And what, for who for?
For Wanganui Aerowood.
Oh, right, well-established New Zealand company, eh? And flying Fletchers all the time?
No, I've flown all sorts.
Like?
Cessnas, Beavers, DC-3s.
Oh, right. No mishaps all through your flying career?
Yeah, too many.
Like, do you want to give us a little instance, for example?
Example of what?
A little mishap or something, or something that sort of wind the day up or something?
They're all very similar, actually. Grossly overloaded, downwind. Usual thing.
I wonder if old Robert's had any sort of situations like that.
He has.
Let's try Robert. Now, when did you start top dressing, Robert?
1965.
1965, what in?
Started in the Cessna 180, went from the 180 on to the 185 to the Agwagon, had a short off that on to Beaver, and then on to the 400, which I'm still flying today.
Still flying today after all these years. When did you start?
1965.
1965. That's almost 30 years of flying.
Almost.
Everything going well? Everything went well in your flying career? No little mishaps or...
No, I've been fortunate. I haven't had any real mishaps. I've had a couple of engine failures, but they're... You know, you've got to grin it.
Part of the game, just about, isn't it?
The game, you've got to grin and bear it.
Right.
There's a man getting tangled up in the other machine.
Yeah. Oh, that's good, Bob. And you're here for the weekend, I say?
Here for the weekend. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll see you tomorrow and tomorrow night, and I hope you enjoy yourself.
I'll be
this
here.
45th anniversary.
Thanks, Mario.
Okay, catch you later. Well, here we are again. We've got a couple of like-looking lads here. The three amigos.
You've seen me.
We've seen you before, that's right,
Yeah.
Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, over here we've got Dave Reed. Is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Where did you start flying, Dave?
I'm not a flyer, I'm a top-dressing loader driver.
And who'd you load for?
Southland Aerial top-dressing.
Who was your favourite pilot in those days?
Glenn Speeden.
Okay, is he here tonight, Glenn?
No, Glenn passed away about 10 days ago.
Right. When did you start flying? Oh, start loader driving in the ag work.
Oh, back in the early 60s,
All right, who for?
Southland Aerial.
Whereabouts? Down in Southland at all, or
Just out of Gore. Yeah, Wyndham.
at Wyndham? Did you travel up north at all, anywhere else?
Never, no. My next pilot was Russell here.
Russell, he was a pilot in those days as well, was he?
Still is.
Yep. Still is. Okay, when did you start flying, Russell?
About a week ago.
About a week ago. Got some really old timers there, haven't we? Hey. Okay, give us the straight answer now. When did you start flying?
Must be about 55.
The 1955, what in?
Tiger Moth, that he taught me to fly.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, another man who's another instructor. And where'd you go? Where'd you about to learn to fly?
Gore and Wanganui.
Gore and Wanganui, and what year was this in? Start?
About 55. Originally, what about 52 or something?
All right, and where'd you go? What sort of aircraft did you fly in? The Tigers all the time?
Yeah, that's it, Tiger Moth.
The Tiger Moths. You're still flying Tiger Moths then?
I flew one a few years ago.
All right, and what are you doing now? Still in the air or?
Yep.
Still in the air. What are you flying at this stage?
212, Bell 212.
Oh, right, okay, the old helicopter. So you've gone from the fixed wing to the rotor wing, is that right? And when did you start doing that?
Oh, only 28 years ago.
Only 28? Yeah. All right. I see something in the background there is going, no, that's not right, that's not right. Yeah.
When he started flying helicopters.
When did you start?
1967.
1967. Okay.
28 years ago.
Yeah, that'd be right, 28 years. Okay, and who for?
Tim Wallace.
Tim Wallace, right.
He only works in small numbers.
Only works what?
In small numbers.
Small numbers. Tim wouldn't be here tonight by any chance, would he?
No, he wouldn't be. No.
No, right, okay. Oh, well, I hope you enjoy the weekend, Russell, and we'll see you tomorrow and tomorrow night. Yep. You're doing a show for us tomorrow afternoon?
No, I will be in 5 years' time, though.
5 years' time. Why is that? Another reunion? Oh, right, okay. All right. Depends how many hours you have tomorrow night. All right, thanks, Russell. We'll see you tomorrow. At the photographs, we got George, who? George? Hetterscheid. And when did you start flying, George?
When?
Yeah, when?
1957.
And what in?
Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moths. Everybody seems to start off now with Tiger Moths.
Well,
whereabouts was that, George? Whereabouts did you start flying?
Down the South Island.
South Island.
With aviation.
Oh, right, yeah. And you stayed in, for how long in the old Tiger Moths?
Not that long. I went to Auster Air Service where we flew some Tiger Moths for spraying, and the rest was the Austers.
Oh, right.
Eaglets.
Okay, and you're still flying, or you're
yep, still flying?
Still in the air?
Yep.
Commercially, or
yep.
just, yeah, is that right?
Still top dressing.
And what are you flying at the moment?
Fletcher.
Fletchers, the 450s?
Yeah.
Oh, right, and whereabouts is that? Where
well, I'm just here in Feilding.
Just here in Feilding?
I've been here since 1960.
Oh, right, oh, that's excellent. So you've still been flying since when, the mid-50s?
Yeah, 1957 I started top dressing.
Oh, right, good career all the way through?
Yes, I can't complain. Really.
Can't complain, you're still here?
I survived it.
You survived it, yeah. No little mishaps at all on the way?
No.
No wings coming off?
We had no wings coming off. Had a few engine failures and things. I suppose everybody had them.
Yeah, that all happens with the water and the gas, I suppose.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Oh, well, I hope you're here for the weekend, George, and we'll see you tomorrow and tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Okay, enjoy yourself. Okay, here we got Peter McCall, top dressing pilot, ex-top dressing pilot. When did you start flying, Peter?
Oh, that's a bit rough. About 1941.
About 1941. And what?
Sorry, 61.
1961. Yes. And what sort of aircraft were you flying in when you started?
Started off in Tiger Moths and Little Champions and Air Tours, Cessnas.
Right.
Yep, that's what I did my training in.
Right.
And then, yep.
And you moved on to what, other aircraft?
Instructing at Gisborne Aero Club.
Right.
And then 3 years there, and then on to top dressing.
On top dressing. And what aircraft were you top dressing there then?
James Aviation Fletcher all the time.
Oh, Fletchers.
Yeah, 20 years.
Oh, right. Yeah. And what sort of spraying were you doing? What sort of top dressing? What just spread out?
Okay, mainly fertiliser, then seeding, spraying crops.
Right.
Forestry.
Forestry, like you mean like the 1080 type stuff?
I did. Yeah, we did 1080 as well. Yeah.
Oh, right. Is that the?
That's where I met you.
Oh, right. Is that the operations that the Fletchers learn how to loop and all that thing? You got to loop them to get the 1080 out of the aircraft.
Where did you see that, Mario?
I don't know. This is a story I heard. I don't know if it's
yeah, just a story.
Oh,
yeah,
must be just a story.
Big stories told in those days. Yeah.
And you're still flying?
Yep.
And what are you flying at the moment?
I'm with Ian Nelson now, and on the Saab.
On the Saab,
yeah.
right?
Yep.
You're flying. What are you flying there? What sort of?
No. It's
a commuter.
Commercially line passengers.
Oh, right.
And Air New Zealand link.
New Zealand, right.
Wellington, Christchurch.
Are the Saabs hard to loop, or like the Fletchers, or are they pretty stable?
They're very stable. Yeah, they don't like looping.
Okay, Peter. Oh, good to see you, and we'll see you tomorrow at the air show and tomorrow night. Over here we got Jeff Black, is that correct?
Yes, Brett Taranaki.
Right, and when did you start flying?
I didn't fly, loader driver.
You're a loader driver, and who for?
Airspread.
Okay, and who were any pilots at all in those days?
Brian Doyle.
Right.
Terry Dutton.
Right, and what three aircraft were you loading?
Tiger Moths.
Tiger Moths?
Yeah, Pipers. Then went on to Pawnees, and then on Agwagons.
Oh, right. And good life all the way through?
Yeah, good.
No little...
A bit hard on the kids, but...
Right.
Working when they wanted to go to the beach.
Oh, right. That's fair enough. Okay, we'll go along to our next man here. We've got John Stephenson here. Pilot or loader driver?
Well, I'm a pilot, but I've been a loader driver, but I'm actually a pharmacist.
We've got a chemist amongst us.
That's correct.
Oh, right.
My father flew for many, many years top dressing.
Right.
And I've got the aeroplane that he did a lot of his top dressing in here today, which is the Auster Agricola.
Right.
So it's a very important part of the aviation top dressing industry.
When did you start flying yourself?
About 20 years ago.
Right. And what did you start learning to fly in?
I learned to fly in a Piper Cherokee.
Oh, right. Yeah, good stable machine.
In Australia.
Good aero club Aero Club aircraft.
Correct. It was.
All right. Is it going to actual commercial flying at all, spreading and stuff like that?
Purely private, just for enjoyment.
Just for enjoyment. Oh, that's good. Okay, and you're still flying in the air now?
I am.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay, we'll go on to old Lou. Lou here, a man like he's been around done a bit of loaded driving. And what have you done? Loaded driving or piloting?
No, I'm an engineer.
You're an engineer. So you're the one who keeps the aircraft up in the air, are you?
Yes.
Okay, and how long have you been engineering for, Lou?
I've been engineering since well, I did my apprenticeship with old de Havilland's in 1948, and I came to aerial top dressing in 1960 to master it.
Oh, right, Marston. So you're still doing the work?
Yes.
Oh, right, in Marston itself, or?
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I did work for in Martinborough for a while.
Right.
Servicing those Agricolas, hence me being with John.
Right, yeah, right. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, well, it's good to got still got interest on it, and I hope you have a good weekend this weekend.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you tomorrow and tomorrow night.
Yes.
And now we've got another man over here, Des. What, top dressing or a pilot?
Yep.
Loaded driving or flying rather?
Flying.
Flying. And how long have you been flying for, Des? When did you start flying?
I started top dressing 61.
61. What in?
The Cubs.
The Cubs, right, yeah. Yeah, and you moved your way up to Fletchers and things like that?
Yeah. Cubs, 180s, Scott Masters, you name it. Didn't top dress in Austers.
Oh, right, and whereabouts? Whereabouts you start flying?
South Otago.
South Otago, everybody seems to be from South Island mountains here tonight. So, it's good, and you're still in the air?
No.
No, not in the air.
Now diabetic.
Oh, right, that's not good. Yeah. Oh, well, never mind, I
did. I did 32 years.
32 years, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Okay, Des, always see you tomorrow at the show, and hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Okay, thanks, Des.
The following Saturday, the air show was held at Feilding. An air show of top dressing with all aircraft, from Fletchers to AgCats to helicopters. You name it, it was all there. But before the actual air show went ahead, a briefing, as always.
The list of it, the photocopier broke down before, so we painted any photocopies of it. So the Tiger Moth was going to start it, but we rang them up this morning and said don't try, because I think they'd still be trying to get here by tonight. So that's sort of a sequence of which the aeroplanes came to service in the industry. So we're just going to run through it like that. We're still waiting for Ray Patchett to turn up with the 180, but we've got the next three. And Robin Langslow, we're still waiting to see Robin today. Come in, Ray. Yeah. This is, anybody who doesn't know Ray Dearness, you must do if you're in this industry. You can do a bit of commentating today along with Janet Peelan. So we scheduled there to start it at 10 to 2 with Mike and the Beaver. If he just taxis out and goes up past Dave's place and picks up a couple of tonne of line.
A bit more.
Yeah.
Just to make it work.
And I think if everybody's going to do the actual... What? Yeah. The actual egg displays, those aeroplanes that are spreading line, there's just the four of them here that'll be spreading line. If they just take off and just do a dumbbell turn and do, say, a couple of runs up the field, up and down the field, and then if you so wish, just do a short handling display, and then just round and land again. What is the grass like? Is it? Yeah, most of you guys then will be using the seal, then, eh? Yeah, but they could taxi off the seal, no troubles. Yeah. And taxi across the grass. Yeah. Okay then.
Beaver's not too good.
What's that?
The Beaver's a bit something for the Beaver.
Yeah, and then but the 3 180 guys can sort of just get together and have a talk. Hunter and Bill and Clyde's got BDE, Clyde Rowlands. So if you think if you just take off and just sort of go around on a wide circuit and just line abreast, fly down the field like that. And if one of you wants to do a couple of steep turns or something, probably if you did that, Bill, you want to do something like that?
He's more skilled.
Okay, you two guys will work it out. Yes, okay then. And then Ben's going to tow a glider off with the 300 Fletcher. And what'll that take you, 5, 6, 7 minutes?
Yes,
yeah, the glider will do a couple of loops or something on the way down. And then John Stevenson, yeah, he's another one we're still looking for. He should be round about. He'll just fly the Agricola just up and down the paddock a couple of times. And the same Dave and the Pawnee, they won't be saying anything, of course. Robin Langslow in the 185, and then Bob in the Agwagon. Put in a little bit of line, same again as what Mike will do. Then the 400 Fletchers, Bob Monds will do a spraying display, and then chain, sew some line. Jet range is supposed to be coming over, then Andy in the Cresco, Dave in the Husky, myself in the AgCat, Keith in the Sikorsky, and Wakeling and Robinson. We'll finish off with the PD6 Cresco. The timetable will vary a little wee bit. I can't lecture you guys, you can all lecture me no doubt. Fairly difficult conditions, it's pretty windy today, so just take it easy. No sense trying to impress the type of guys that are in the audience today. Don't want any problems. It would be the one quick way to ruin the weekend. So everybody's take it nice and easy. And I think that's about all. Any questions? Well, everybody's familiar with it. The wind's virtually straight down the runway today. The display line's virtually across in front of the buildings on the north side of it. The line's out here in front of Dave's hangar. And the gliding club headquarters here. And we're here. The aeroplane's there, if you just sort of keep north of that line. There's no minimum heights with anybody, just sort of more or less do what you do, what you want to do as long as it's safe. Any questions?
I think for the three 180s, if we just sort of do a fly past, Rob Langlow will be current.
Yeah.
He should really do a handy display.
Yep, okay then.
I
Yep,
think.
yeah. Yeah, so...
Hallett, with the chopper, I wanted to just show how the thing can handle manoeuvrability. Everyone looks at it, laughs and says, well, you know, how does it manoeuvre? Well, I think a lot of the guys would be interested to see that. So
yes.
I was wondering if I could do sort of a couple of spray runs, a crosswind,
yes,
which would of course bring me toward the audience. But if I did it well out,
yep,
beyond the display line, would that be acceptable?
No, that's okay. The only thing is a set of wires, you know, outside the airfield,
Yeah, I wouldn't.
the north side, running through a paddock through here. The model aeroplane headquarters, and there's a windsock there.
Right.
That's the only obstructions. Yeah, if you come in like that, as long as you pull up your turn,
yeah,
and don't come over the guys.
Well,
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
You can have a spray there and then spray back.
Good, not that good.
We have actually got an approval to run this. We haven't got approval to run this air show, but I've contacted Civil Aviation. As long as we're not charging on the gate, we don't have to have approval for it. Okay then, any other?
Just basically, you've all got 5 minutes from takeoff to landing, so if you take 4 minutes from it, you know, if it gets a little bit behind, I don't think it will. 5 minutes is ample for what you want to do.
Yeah.
So we try and keep everything on that 5 or 10 minutes. And you'll see that some of them, there is a 10-minute gap where we thought we might have a few more aeroplanes. The 180s, you've got 10 minutes, so you've got plenty of time, and there's no rush. Well, unless everyone wants to get back over to Palmerston North. Thanks very much for coming.
We just see Mike hasn't got a watch, so we'll run out with a flag. Red flag when it's all over.
Warm-up time's going to stop us up a bit too. Yeah, right. Because warm-up, you're making a noise while...
Oh no, we have to put up with that.
Yeah.
Mm.
What about your
That's part of the nuisance you put up with if you select an operator without a turbine.
Where's the bucket? Put on
You
your
want some of those guys coming in and get a load of line?
Yeah, yeah. Well, Andy can be loaded where he is. Can you get the truck around to where the Cresco is at the moment?
Yeah.
So you can be loaded up. You yourself, you can get loaded in your time, Shane, and same with... Like, what about Paul? You wouldn't want to start yours, would you? Shut it down, would you? You like that? The trouble is the guys driving the loader wants to go away and play rugby.
I'll be able to do that last night.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, yeah.
But just the Fletcher.
So you just taxi up 5 minutes early.
Yeah.
Or to Dave's hangar there, Shane put a loader.
Shut it down, no problem.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just what, you just sort of forget to count it.
Well, he's not here, Hallett.
Okay then, I think that's all set. Thanks very much.
Well done. First time, Bob.
Well, here we are at the Feilding Airstrip on this 45th anniversary of Ag Pilots, 45th anniversary of Top Dressing New Zealand. With me I've got Clive Thorne in the studio here, giving a commentary. What do you think of it so far, Clive?
Oh, very, very good, Mario. We have Mike now taking off his Beaver, which is Langatiki Air Services, and he's now going to display. Very blustery conditions on this day, but these pilots are all experienced, and no doubt about it, they'll give us an excellent display. Let's watch the Beaver for a while.
Okay, Clive, and then we'll just sit back and watch the rest of the show, I think.
Okay.
Well, that was the end of the of Mike Cronin's Beaver display, Clive.
Yeah, very polished, Mario, very polished. Mike has spent a long time in the field, and everyone appreciates his display here today. Now we have the 180s taken to the air. Pilots Ray Patchett, Clyde Rowlands, Bill Saunderson, and Hunter McEwan. All experienced pilots from the ag world in the past. And these aircraft did a lot of top dressing over a number of years in New Zealand. And there's a lot of fellas on the ground today feeling very, very envy of these guys up in the air today.
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got the Fletcher here about to take off with a glider, Clive. But
Yeah.
I think we had a little mishap.
Yes, it looked like the rope broke, but this can happen in these sort of things when you don't want it to, but looks like they'll be hooking up again and will shortly be away. The Fletcher is flown by Ben Stimpson, also an experienced top-dressing pilot, and flying the glider is Terry Jones.
Yeah, and he put on quite a good display, as we'll see shortly, once he did get in the air.
Yes, very good. He's a high-performance glider, and he certainly can handle it. In these conditions of the day, it's not easy for him, as we'll see.
Righto, I will sit back and watch this display. If it gets underway and the rope doesn't break again.
Yeah, we'll be right. Here we go.
Well, looks like they're all hooked up again, Clive, and about to have another go at this thing.
Yes, it's one of those things I said before, it happens, but all ready to go now. I think we can sit back now this time and see them have their little fly. It's quite interesting with the glider behind the Fletcher. You don't very often see this.
Oh, well, it's a long, slow haul up there to about, what, 2,500 feet, Clive?
Yeah,
and
around about that,
looks
I'd
like
say.
he's cut the rope now and he's on his own now going to do his his display with the glider.
Yep. Very good too. Terry Jones is a very experienced glider pilot, and I'm sending her with a nice little display here. Here we go.
I think, Clyde, that he done quite extremely well in the glider, doing his aerobatic, especially under the wind conditions he had.
Yes, Mario, but this is a very high-performing glider, and handling these conditions remarkably well, I think.
Okay, he's coming in now, Clive, and doing a low pass at quite a high rate of knots.
Yeah, very nice. And the handles conditions well, doesn't it?
Excellent, absolutely excellent.
Very nice indeed. He's just better on the ground. Nice one, Terry. If you're listening.
Good one. And here we got John Stephenson in the Agricola, Clive. What do you think of this aircraft?
Very nice. Yeah, I have had the pleasure of flying that way in the top dressing days way back, and they proved themselves very well, but it wasn't to be that they carried on with the production of them. But however, we're lucky to see one of them left now, which is owned by John Stephenson and kept in very, very nice order.
Yeah, I heard somebody say to me that there's only one flying in the world or something. Would that be right, or is it just one in New Zealand flying?
No, that is right. The only one left in the world, and it's a credit to the Stevensons, which is Claude Stephenson and his son.
Oh, well, we'll sit back and
John.
And we'll sit back and here he goes for his display, and we'll sit back and see how it handles its paces.
Yeah.
doing here, Clive? Looks like he's doing a bit of a slow fly past.
Yeah, strapped down and speed right back, and just showing the controllability at very low speed. And John is now kicking the rudder a little bit there and showing it with the turbulence to the front. Stable way out, low speed.
Right.
Comes John, I beg your pardon, yeah, John coming into land now, and the Dricker, that's a nice little display, and you can see by the conditions the aircraft's waffling around a bit, but no problem for John. He's on the ground, nice 3-pointer. Good on you, John.
Okay, what have we got here, Clive?
Looks like now we've got the Pawnee flown by Dave Harding. Pawnee was a nice little aircraft used in top dressing in the earlier days, and of course, like everything else, load, weight. It was slowly, eventually retired, practically from service, but here we are lucky enough to see one today flown by Dave Harding.
Are there still more flying in New Zealand, sort of commercially, sort of full-timeish, or are they sort of being phased out a little bit?
Mostly phased out now. The odd company might have one or two, but literally nothing that much now with the Pawnee.
Okay, we'll just watch this display and see how it handles.
Agwagon, flown by Bob Monds. The Agwagon is still actively an odd company flying in New Zealand. It was quite a popular aircraft for the pilots, and as you'll see, very manoeuvrable in the air.
Well, nice little landing from Bob there, Clive.
Yes, very nice. Very polished display.
Well, this is a bit of a noisy little bugger here. What's this one here, Clive?
This is the 185, Cessna 185, flown by Robin
Langslow, I think it is.
yeah,
Robin Langslow.
Yes, yes, and this one is fitted out with spade gear on, as you can see, and used now by Bob, by Robin, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Yes, I personally flew these aircraft, and quite a nice machine.
Looks like it's got quite a good bit of handling, handling, manoeuvrability.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's very good that way, and quite a high, good rate of climb. We used to use around about up to 14 to 1500 weight of them in the old days.
Okay, Clive, let's see how he handles this landing.
No problem.
No problem. Nice and short and straight to the point, eh?
Yep.
Well, here we got Matt Dillon and the Hughes 300 about to give us a rotor wing demonstration on the old top dressing, flying a bucket there with a bit of super or something in it.
Yep. That's very nice. We'll see how he gets on with this one in these conditions.
Well, here it comes in again for another load. I think it's coming in pretty quick. I think it might be only doing, say, a quarter bucket there for these conditions. Clive, what do you reckon?
I would say so, yes. There's no sense in putting the all-up weight on it now. Just showing us how quick the loads are actually conveyed into the aircraft. Very fast. And away we go again. That was a very quick turnaround, wasn't it?
Excellent, excellent. Good display, nice and clean, tidy.
Yep.
Oh, a couple of more Fletchers here. Fletchers 400s.
Yeah, the 400s are going now, and flown by Bob Monds and Shank Wareham. Shane Wareham, yes.
Shane Wareham.
Yes.
Let's see what sort of display these boys can put on. I'm not sure which is flying which aircraft, but I know Bob Monds is supposed to be flying one and Shane Wareham and the other, so I think they might be taken off here separately, but we can't see two in the air at the moment, but someone's coming in for a display anyway, so let's look back and see how this guy handles his one. Well, there's another Fletcher. Again, we're not sure which pilot it is, either Bob Monds or Shane Wareham, but he's putting on a bit of a nice display here too, Clive.
Yes, he's coming now with showing us with carrying a load of superphosphate, which in this case is lime, and doing a nice display also. And here we have the other one taxiing in, this displaying machine.
This is the Cresco, which is about to take off. Yeah, I think it's getting ready to go up in the air.
Yes.
In the meantime, what do we have on? Oh, there he goes again. The 400.
400 is still going.
Yep.
Very solid machine, Mario. Those ones.
Yeah, I've had a chance to have a spin in one of these. Sort of.
Yeah.
Had a bit of a ride. Over some areas we were spraying some time back.
I've personally flew the 225s way back in the 50s, and they've come a long way since then.
Well, here we have a Cresco 700, I think it is, flown by Andy Stephenson.
Yes. I've come a long way when you look at this one now, with the turbo motor 700, and a far more maneuver machine, and upgraded from the old one. Let's see how she goes. Okay.
Well, that was nice, nice quick landing, Clive.
It was, yes. I think you'll probably put the reverse thrust and go back.
Right, well, it's not often you see an aircraft doing that when it's on the ground.
Just shows the advance in aviation, doesn't it?
Sure does. And here he goes again.
Yeah.
Very short takeoff.
This one, Mario, is the Husky, and it's flown by Dave Wareham. Very impressive display, very similar to the Agwagon. Upgraded model, I'd say.
Just touching the runway there before liftoff.
Yes. And a very nice display by Dave Wareham and the Husky.
looks like we got Hallett taxiing along to the end of the field for demonstration in the AgCat.
Yes, Hallett, of course, as we know, is the organiser of the flying display here this afternoon, and he's having his turn now. His Agwagon with his TD6 motor, which is a turbo. I believe it's 600. It's a very nice display, as you'll see, and he's a very experienced pilot in the ag world, and you won't be disappointed. So sit back and watch this.
What do you think of that display there, Clive?
Yeah, very nice, handled by Hallett there. Old, once again, experienced pilot, showing us how it's done. And a nice display, yes.
Well, this is certainly something different. An old Sikorsky flown by Keith Turner from Marston.
Yes, the old Sikorsky, a very nice old ship, isn't it? I can't exactly know what his payload is, I don't know, but it's in the tons. And Keith is a very experienced chopper pilot. And once again, we'll be watching a nice display, I'm sure.
Quite an ungainly looking aircraft, especially after you're seeing sort of watching jet rangers flying around in huge 500s. This old blunderbuss here, she doesn't look all that great, but it seems to handle quite well.
Yes, and it's the payload they carry now, and this, and it's certainly going well. And,
good way to climb there too, Clive?
Oh yes, yes. Keith will handle it now.
Now we'll sit back and watch Keith put this machine through his paces.
Yes.
Well, here we've got the Robinson coming in on the act as well here, flown by Ian Wakeling.
Yep. Ian has been flying choppers for many, many years, and once again a very experienced pilot. Coming in there now, so the little one goes. I don't know what his payload is, but could be in proportion of the aircraft.
So while Keith comes into land, he'll taxi along somewhere, and we should see the Robinson going through his paces any second now.
Yep. Oh, here he is now, coming into the picture now. Neat little chopper, isn't it?
Yeah, excellent. Used mainly overseas for commuter flying, I think. Clive.
Yes.
But in New Zealand, they've sort of, like most helicopters, they've sort of gone a little bit more versatile, and they use them for all sorts of things, from live gear recovery to a little bit of lifting, and as you can see here, a bit of spraying.
Ah, yes, that's good, eh? And that was very code display and lands there. That's nice.
And here we've got the final aircraft in the show. It's a Cresco 750, and this is flown by, I think, Paul Fenton.
Yeah, Paul Fenton, yes. Slightly more power and a bit more versatile, I'd say. I'll sit back and watch this one for the final part of the show.
Very good flight.
That's a very nice landing. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was quite nice. Very short, though. Very short landing.
Very smooth lines, Mario. Yeah. Looks nice and swept. Clean.
He's off again in about 25 metres, 50 metres of runway.
Wouldn't be that long. since landed.
So what do you think of that display there, Clive?
Very nice, Mario. Yeah, it's a lovely, clean aeroplane, as I said before, and a nice display. It just shows how over the years the advancements in the Fletcher, especially this machine, has developed over the last 35 years, and we've wound up with a very nice machine. I'm sure the pilots love flying it. Oh, well, here's the crowd, very happy pilots of the past and present, enjoying the shows we put on this afternoon.
A good show too, Clive. Very well handled, especially under the conditions we had here. I think there's quite a blustery southwesterly wind coming through.
Oh yes, and the pilots did very well and given us a fine display. And walking around the aeroplanes on the ground now, Mario. Have a look at a few.
Right, you've got the AgCat, which is flown by Hallett Griffin there. Put a nice display on.
Yeah.
Over in the back there, we have a few people looking at the Cresco, I think it is.
Cresco, yeah, they have a look at that one. That's right. Nice colour scheme, Mario.
Some would-be pilots there, maybe, or some ex-pilots.
Oh, most definitely. Some of them have flown before, some haven't, but who's ever there, they're enjoying it. But most of them have had their fair share in the air, I'd say.
There's the old Fletcher there. I think it's a 300, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
oh, you've got Keith Turner and there's Sikorsky.
Yep. I believe Keith enjoys flying this one.
The big nose in the front is actually a cover for the radial, isn't it? It's a big radial inside that that powers it.
That's right. Yeah.
Is it the same size radial as what's in the Beaver? I heard it was sort of the same engine, or was it?
I believe they were in the 450, but I might be correct in that one.
Yeah. Still, they look very good on the handling of display and quite stable, quite a stable machine.
Ah, yes. Yes, very nice. There's the old Agwagon from the past.
Yep.
And of course,
the old Agricola.
Agricola. Yes, this machine did this bit in the past, and here we are seeing it still in the field, even though not actively working now, but showing as part of the past. Of course, there's Mike Cronin starting up at Beaver. I think probably taxied away to the Cresco. I personally flew these aircraft myself, Mario, and enjoyed them. Yes, the finish of the day, and the guys are now chatting about the show and talking about it, and certainly everyone's had an entertaining afternoon.
Cold, but entertaining.
Yes. Two of the old identities there as we go past.
Oh, well, that was putting into the day, and it's on to the convention centre in Palmerston North for the night's activities, Clive.
Yes, it'll be a good show tonight, I'm certain.
After the air show, it was back to the convention centre in Palmerston North, where, over a good meal and a few drinks, everybody got to get together again and reminisce of the old days.
Okay, here we are at the 45th Ag Pilots Reunion. Who we have here? We have Scotty Adams. How are you, Scotty?
Oh, I'm going well. It's been a terrific gathering, and I'm meeting all my mates, and it's something that should happen more often.
Right, and when did you start flying, Scotty?
I went solo on glider since 14.
So, what year would that have been then? Or you don't want to say?
Well, I don't hide my age, but no, I was born 1930.
All right, so you started flying at 14?
Yeah.
And then as a PP at that age, and then sort of going to commercial? When did you go into commercial flying?
Well, it took me halfway around the world, in 2 air forces, to get my commercial license to go crop dusting in New Zealand. In 1953.
So you started flying in England?
No, I was an engineer.
In
and,
England?
and RAF and RNZAF.
Oh, right. And whereabouts was that?
Oh, in England?
Yeah.
Oh, I was at on the east coast of England. I was on the Berlin airlift.
All right, that's a bit of excitement there. And whereabouts did you do top dressing in New Zealand?
Well, I started in 1953 in Wellington, and I went to Masterton. Then I went up to Whangarei, back to Palmerston North, and I did a little bit in South Island.
Oh, very good. So you had quite a colourful career. No problems, no wings falling off, or
Yes.
you had a few wings come off?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
4 of them.
I got Jack. When did you start flying, Jack?
In top dressing?
Yeah.
Or flying?
Oh, no, flying when you first start actually getting into the air.
I started getting into the air in about January 1943.
As a private pilot, and then you sort of moved on?
I went into the Air Force and flew to the end of the war. And then after a year out of the Air Force after the war, during 1946, I was a deer colour, and then I went back into the Air Force again and flew with them until 1943, and then I went top dressing. But I had been doing some top dressing in the early 50s before I was released from the Air Force.
Oh, right. And where else did you start top dressing? What areas?
In Southland, and then I moved up to the Gisborne area, and from there, well, really I worked all over New Zealand and did my about 11 years of top dressing, and the last 6 years of that I did on the James Aviation DC-3.
Oh, excellent. And so you're flying what? You fly what sort of aircraft?
I'm not flying now. I went on from top dressing to Air New Zealand, and I flew 15 years for them, retired in 1979, and I've been mostly engaged in engineering since, although I've maintained my license since.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And what sort of aircraft are you flying when you've been top dressing?
Well, I flew Tiger Moths, of course, like we all did in those very early days, Piper PA-18s, the Fletcher, and the DC-3, of course.
Oh, excellent. So DC-3 would have been for field air, would it have been? Field air?
No, it was for James Aviation, and for a brief period for Airland. And then the aeroplane was returned to James Aviation. I continued to fly it for them until I finished my top dressing career and went into the airline business.
Oh, excellent. Oh, well, I hope you've enjoyed the weekend today, and
Marvellous.
got another few more hours to go on it yet, so we hope you enjoy yourself and catch up with a few old friends.
These are the greatest people in the world.
Excellent. Thank you, John. Here we go. We got the 3 Thorne boys. On our left here we got Bob. In the middle we got Clive. And on our right there we got Jim. When did you start flying, Jim?
I started flying about 1955, started top dressing in 57.
And what sort of aircraft did you start top dressing in?
I started in the Tiger Moth, the last Tiger Moth in Wairarapa.
All right, and where did you start in the Wairarapa itself?
Yeah, started in the Wairarapa for aerial farming.
All right, and did you move on to any other aircraft?
Yes, I went from there onto a Super Cub, and then then when I left aerial farming, I went to air contracts where I had a Cessna 180 most of the time.
Oh, excellent. And when you sort of stop flying? Was it just recently?
No. I moved on from top dressing in 1963 and went up into Seneca charter flying.
Oh, excellent, excellent. That's good.
But then I wasn't long on that when I had a little heart trouble, lost my license. That was it.
In the middle here we've got
operations manager then.
All right, that's good. Yeah, excellent. Oh, yes. And we've got Clive here. When did you start learning to fly, Clive?
Way back in 1947.
1947?
Yes. 47, the Aero Club, Wareham Aero Club, yes.
And when did you first do top dressing?
We're going to commercial in 1952 and went top dressing for air contracts for a number of years, and then joined Wanganui work after that, and also Basil Foster Pratt, number 2 aerial top dressing on Cessna 180s, and finally finished my flying career in 1967 with Field Air and Beavers.
Oh, right. And which is the nicest aircraft you sort of like to fly in?
Well, all pilots like the aircraft they're flying. In other words, if you're flying an aircraft, that's the best. So I can say the whole damn lot of them are damn good. Tigers, Cessna 180s, and Beavers. The Fletcher, well, I didn't quite come to grips with that one. At the early stages, he wasn't the machine she is today, but what we saw at the air show today, we know she's a very nice ship today. And so that's it, and I still continue flying in a retirement situation now with the Vintage Aviation Society in Masterton.
Oh, very good. We've got another Thorne boy here. This is Bob. Were you loaded driving or were you flying?
No, loader driving.
And when did you start loaded driving?
About 1953.
And who was that for?
Started off with Wonga Aeroworks, the first one, and man number 2. Who else was it? Air contracts. Yeah, that'll be about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And whereabouts did you start actually doing the ag work?
Yeah, in Masterton.
In Masterton,
yeah.
Always in Masterton, or you moved around?
Well, at one stage I had my 2 brothers here in Colin. Right. The four of us on one airstrip. Right. I was loading for the whole 3 of them at one point.
Loading for the 4 of them. That would have been kept you on your toes, wouldn't it?
Oh no, 3. Sorry.
3. Right,
yeah. These 3.
I'd just like to say one bit before we close our little scene is that in the aerial top dressing is quite unique. With me was my twin brother who's now deceased, and my brother Jim flying, and Bob loader driving for it on the. It was quite unique because on one strip 4 of us were working, and I think in New Zealand's top dressing that has never been done before.
Well, very good attribute, very good attribute. Oh well, we hope you enjoy the rest of the night and catch up with some old friends, and we'll see you later on. Okay, thank you. To my mic on. Yep. Okay, here we have Paul Bocamp, was it?
No, Beecham Leg.
Oh, Paul Beecham. Okay, Paul, when did you start flying?
46. 1946.
1946. Top dressing?
No. Top dressing wasn't even thought of in those days. I did start. I was one of the directors of Man of 2 Top Dressing Company when that first got going. 4 of us in that actually. We raked up 800 quid. Bought a Tiger. Got Doug Gregg to put a hopper in. We didn't know whether he flew high or flew low, and we used to pick up those huge great bags of superphosphate, crike them up in the wing and tip them in while the cocky would walk up the other side and dribble a bit of seed in. Then restart the motor and off you'd go. We built a front end loader. It cost £27. We never had the money to pay the bloke. And Basil Foster Pratt and I can't think of the other guy's name at the moment, but they were married, so once a month they brought their grocer's accounts to the board meeting, and we would vote them enough money to pay the grocer's bill. That's all the money that came out.
What years were those in?
When top dressing first started, we were the 7th company to drop, but for years, maybe
1950s?
Yeah, you'd have to go back to when top dressing. Right. Yep. Oh no, it'd be back in the 40s.
Back in the 40s.
Yeah,
right.
It'd be back in the 40s, about 48, 49, I think.
And you moved on with the.
No, I got talked out of top dressing by the bank manager when I was getting married, and so I went back into flying. I went instructing. I've had over 1,300 pupils I've put through, and went airline fly. I flew with West Coast Airways, where I top dressed there quite a bit. A lot of scenic work, a lot of charter work. Then I went on to instructing again with North Otago. Started my own business, and was the first person to operate a flying school privately after the war. The government had subsidised right out of it. And somebody said to me a while ago, "You're the grandfather of the flying school." So I think pretty good about that.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, very good career anyway.
Oh yeah, well I've had over 1,300 pupils.
Yeah, that's good.
I was 72 at one stage, and school teachers don't like that. So I've done that. I've done experimental work. I think I did the first rainmaking. I definitely thought up and did the first firefighting. Then
first firefighting with an aircraft.
Yep. Yeah, with a Tiger Moth.
Would you have 2 buckets of water, one inside the wing or something?
No, I filled up a spray plane at. You find all this. Probably in historical records. It's definitely recorded in the newspapers. I'll be doing the experiments, and I actually had to go to Junior and Fire on the way home.
Excellent. Oh, it's good. So
don't ask me to get with.
Okay, another pilot we have here, Hallett Griffin. Hallett, when did you start flying?
I started when I was 15 years old. About 1959 was my first training flight.
Right, and when did you go into actual top dressing commercially?
I left school in 1963 and then went to the Wanganui Commercial Pilot School and got my commercial at the end of the year, and then started my egg training in March 1964 with Berwick Dalcombe and Wanganui.
Oh, right, and what sort of aircraft did you sort of learn to fly commercially in?
I learned to fly in Cessna 150s, and then I did my agricultural training in a Cessna 180.
All right, and any other aircraft you flew in top dressing?
Oh, I've flown many different types of aircraft. Hardly remember all of them.
Right, you do any helicopter work at all?
Yes, I flew helicopters for 10 years. I did about 8,500 hours in helicopters.
Right, because I remember you flying me into the Towers one day, flying a Hutton to the northern end of the Towers there. We flew a Hutton, a little gap in the bush there. Remember that at all?
Yes, I do. I remember that was in a Jet Ranger, I think.
That's right, yeah. You looked at the hut and you thought, oh, God, how am I going to lift this thing up there? But you managed it anyway.
Yes. No, I quite enjoyed my helicopter flying, but my first love is fixed wings. Sort of find them a little bit more exhilarating than a helicopter.
Right. That's good. And you organised the air show for today?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you didn't organise the weather, but it wasn't too bad, though.
No, it wasn't too bad, and everybody put on a great effort in the conditions.
Right.
Very difficult flying there today. It was quite gusty, but it all came out, and I think everybody enjoyed it.
Excellent. Oh, well, I hope you'll be able to sort of enjoy the rest of the night and catch up with a few old friends.
Yes.
And we'll see you later on the video sometime.
Good, thank you, and I hope the organisers carry it on in another 5 years' time.
Excellent. Well, we'll still be here too.
That's enough for me. Now, we have a very distinguished man, I think you all know, as going to give just a short sermon, he told me. He was also well known throughout the industry. In fact, he was the first New Zealand pilot to fly a Fletcher. Now, I asked him, was that necessary for a medal or was it sheer endurance? But anyway, without any more, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Guy Robinson.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, and old friends, I have no friends in the back of the room if they're going to interject tonight because Noel has assured me that anyone who interjects will be thrown out on their ear, so I don't care what I say. When Noel first rang me and asked me to say a few words, invited me to say a few words, my first reaction was, I'm just not qualified to do this because before an august assembly such as we have here tonight, I knew that I would be, every chance that I would chicken out. And it's only by meeting my old friends and relaxing a wee bit that I feel that maybe I don't have to do that. Before I say anything further, I would like to pay a great compliment and a tribute to Noel and his committee. Because, you know, I don't know how a bloke like Noel, who can't hold his booze, can organise a show like this and give us so much happiness. It's enabled me, I know, and probably a lot more of you, I know for certain will be a lot more, to meet old friends and to once again realise the worth of those people, because there are not too many of them around. Anyway, when Noel rang me, I first of all said, look, Noel, I can't do this. You know, I'm over 30 now, and that means I'm getting pretty old, and I don't think I can do it. He said, look...
You never could.
Who was that? Noel? He said, look, you've only got to speak for a quarter of an hour, and any fool can do that. And he said, also, a quarter of an hour, at the end of that period, they'll be bored stiff anyway, and they'll make it known they don't want it. And I said, well, look, what am I going to talk about? He said, you can talk about any subject you like. Now, that laid me wide open for making a lot of claims to proficiencies that I haven't got. But there are one or two activities in which I do claim proficiencies, and hotly contested over the years by my old mates who are here tonight. But then I thought, well, I can't talk about the modern day industry to people like you because you know so much more about it than I do. And that was confirmed today when I saw those boys handling those aircraft. When I saw that, I won't mention a particular aircraft, I was particularly impressed by one or two of the activities of some of those fellows who really know how to fly. I thought I used to go when I was young, but I back off. So then I thought, what am I going to speak about? And then I thought that, particularly in view of, and I haven't prepared a speech at all. I haven't prepared a speech. I think that's an insult to people who are listening to you when you've got to prepare it and read it. And I crave your indulgence for any shortcomings. I thought, because of these young people to which Noel referred earlier tonight, that have joined the industry, and I'm amazed to see so many young boys around, because most of them are old fellows now. And I thought, probably, while I can't tell them anything about the modern day industry, there's a possibility that I might get away with making brief references to the circumstances surrounding the industry in its earlier days. You know, if I'm boring my old contemporaries, such as John there, and a few others like him, I crave their indulgence. I know they'll forgive me, and if they don't, I'll have them thrown out too, as Noel promised. I wonder, can I take you back then? Well, first, before I do start on that, I know that some of you boys were too young to take part in the industry in the early 1950s, when the early starters got going. And I must say at this stage that I'm not a pioneer. I'd like to claim the fact that I'm an early starter. I'd like to take you back to the years immediately subsequent to World War II. I wasn't old enough to be in the war because I'm just over 30. Thank you. We had just come through 6 years of warfare, and a war in which there were more of our men and women in uniform, percentage-wise, than any other country in the Allied array. That in itself left us quite weak for manpower and accomplishment during the war. Things got neglected, and things were in a bad way. You'd hardly believe today that you couldn't even buy a motor car. Some of you boys have got plenty of money, and you obviously have because you're drinking so much. You couldn't buy a motor car because you had money. You had to wait on a waiting list for 2 or 3 years just to get a motor car. And then at the end of 2 or 3 years, you weren't necessarily able to get it because they'd say, right, I want your trade-in for nothing, or money on the table. You couldn't get roofing iron. You couldn't get money to go overseas for an overseas holiday. You had to apply for overseas funds. If you wanted to go on business, you had to apply to the Internal Affairs Department, and they would give you a lousy remittance, which made you a bludgeoning Kiwi when you did get overseas. So things were very serious indeed. And our overseas reserves were spent. We were economically in a bad way. We had to do something about it. What overseas funds we were earning were accounted for by over 90% of the primary production effort in this country. Our manufacturing base was so narrow that you couldn't expect any help from that quarter. But we had to make money to buy things overseas so we could get on with our job, just like any business. So we had to look to primary production for increased production. And in that area, our flat country and our easy country, were accessible to wheels, was already producing near maximum. So we had to look to our hill country. And to look to our hill country, we had to get fertiliser up there. And you couldn't get fertiliser up there by hand sowing because you needed about 2 million men to do it. The few that were doing it at the time, only scratching the surface. Now, a lot of this country had reverted during the war because of lack of manpower, reverted to scrub and stuff. We were in a really bad way. So at that stage, a few far-sighted individuals, led by the then Director of Civil Aviation, Esmond Allen Gibson, decided they would put into effect, if they could, what had long been mooted over the years, and that is the using of an aircraft to sow fertiliser. And they were bearing in mind the fact that we had stacks of war assets, tiger moths, sitting waiting to be used by somebody. So Gibby led this team into the Air Force, and the Air Force at a Grumman event, you all know about this. Sorry if I'm retracing old ground. But they proved the feasibility of using an aeroplane to drop it from the air. Not necessarily the profitability. Others had to prove that, and some weren't able to prove it. Then, having proved the feasibility, the pioneers moved in. And I'd like to mention just very few names. I hope I'm not missing out any that may consider themselves to be pioneers, but I'd like to mention that the pioneers, the prominent among them anyway, were the Brazier brothers of Christchurch, Lawson Fields of Gisborne, Doug Gregg of Auckland, and Ozzie James of the Waikato. These boys paved the way. And immediately following were the early starters. And I'd like to presume to be counted one of those. The difficulties were enormous. We were trying this and trying that. Improvisation was the order of the day. We had no money. The banks wouldn't back us. People thought that we couldn't last any more than 12 months if we lasted that long, and some of us didn't either. So I know that as far as improvisation is concerned, I spent many hours inside of a galvanised iron hopper on the floor of the hangar, holding the dolly, while the engineer bashed the rivets from the outside with a big hammer. And the noise was so terrific that, it affects your brain. And some of my old friends in life would be very happy to say that I've suffered permanent brain damage. And sometimes I think I have too. So anyhow, the industry finally staggered, but we had by no means a full book of work. I had one tiger moth, and I was sitting idle for quite a bit of the time at this stage. And the farmers were reluctant to spend money, reluctant to have us on, because they thought we wouldn't last, and we were too dear, and they didn't like some of these aviation blokes mixing among their women, because they were, Keith Wakeman, because he got a guilty conscience, chirped up here. But anyway, we had tremendous difficulties, and surprise, surprise, not the least of which was the attacks made by the civil aviation upon we poor innocent kids. The regulations had been arranged for airliners, shiny airliners flying with 100 passengers, with a tremendous third-party risk and worries for all sorts of people. And we had the same regulations to abide by. And you can't compare an old dung-dusting tiger moth with a pile of the seat out of his pants in the back country doing his best with an airliner. But we had restrictions such as you had to operate at the licensed airfield. And that was patently ridiculous. We had to break that rule. We had other things like overloading. And a tiger moth, all that weight was accounting for one passenger. So we had to carry a quarter of a tonne or die economically. So we carried a quarter of a tonne, but we were breaking the law. We couldn't get insurance. We had to have daily inspection of aircraft, which meant we had to, I know at one stage I was flying 80 miles a day to get the aircraft inspected and signed out by a licensed engineer when I should have been working. And all in all, we were heading for a very, very steep precipice. I mentioned E.A. Gibson before, the DCA. Well, he moved in and he cut the Gordian knot, as it were. He swept away these regulations at a grave risk to his professional position too. Something he didn't do because they were all powerful. But he did it. And he swept away these restrictive regulations which were bidding fair to kill the industry. And we were then able to operate legally, which meant we would get insurance and put it across insurance companies when we could. Other difficulties we had were with some of these farmers who were reluctant to use our service for the reasons I've mentioned. But there was one case I'd like to tell you about, because I've never forgotten it, and it always impressed me with the tremendous need for some of these people for something other than hand sowing of fertiliser to stay in business. And these were a property in the very heart of the King Country. When we first arrived, it was a steep valley, very, very steep, with a river running through the bottom. And it was all in grass at this stage. But there was 5 acres of grassland at the very bottom. The only flat land of this whole property of 1,000 acres was 5 acres. The father of these 2 men running the place at the time was allocated this block after World War I. And he had no money. There was no road into this place, and he went in on a pack horse with his worldly goods on a bridle track. The heart these people had, you know, we can't believe it today. He went in there, and you couldn't believe it. I know it to be true. He didn't have a plough, so he dug the 5 acres with a spade and put it in the grass. And then, having done that, he set out on the bush which covered the whole property with an axe and a crosscut saw to demolish it and get it to grass. And when we arrived on the scene, 30 years later, he was dead. He'd worked himself to death. And the 2 sons were staggering around the hillsides trying to get fertiliser sown. Because if they didn't sow the fertiliser, it would revert to scrub and they'd be off the property. And this operation of theirs took them almost a year to get their 100 tons on. It comprised of staggering up the hill in the morning with a pack horse and 2 bags of fertiliser on the back, and then getting it off the horse and hand sowing. Staggering around the hillside with one leg longer than the other. I won't tell you which one. And then down the hill again to get two trips in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And that went on for almost a year to keep their farm in operation. When we arrived, even with an old tiger moths, in 2 or 3 days, we did what took them a year. So you can imagine the gratitude and the relief with which they accepted our services. There were more like that, but probably nothing more poignant than that particular case. Now, there is no doubt in my mind, and I know I'm on firm ground here, despite any non-industry members that might be here tonight that mightn't agree. There is no doubt in my mind that had it not been for the advent of the agricultural aeroplane, this country would have been a third world country. We couldn't have done it without it. We had to get this increased production off the hills, which couldn't be done by other means. We had to make more overseas exchange, and we did this. We really did it in a big way, and what recognition have we had for it? Almost none. Almost none. And yet we have deserved a great deal more recognition than that. We've seen in the honours list quite often, on the odd occasion, most of them deserved, I know, but on the odd occasion, there are people who have received honours, and we're mystified as to why. Some of them have received honours for the manipulation of money, sometimes other people's at that. Our people have had nothing by comparison. And it's time that something was done about it. We've got non-flying people who have spent 40 years of their lives in this industry, working their guts out and serving their country. And what have they got for it? Nothing. We've got pilots who have completed more than 20,000 hours in the cockpit of a top dresser. A feat which, when you first start, I would have thought, and so would many others, that it couldn't be done. Because the law of averages would be that you'd never get that far without hitting the bricks. These people have done this. Now, one sort, for those that haven't done it, entails a takeoff of a heavily laden aircraft, several sewing runs into the gullies and over the ridges, often severe turbulence, back down to the airstrip in an urgent dash, often with the old man with the sickle in hot pursuit, sometimes catching you up. Back to the airstrip, another hurried load and off again, every 3 or 4 minutes. Now, one sortie such as that is an adventure. 250,000 sorties is a magnificent achievement and should be rewarded. What would be wrong with starting off tonight and grabbing the AIA boss, young Tom there by the nose? He's here tonight, I know. And if the powers that be won't give our people a medal, it's an enormous achievement. What's wrong with striking our own medal? Didn't leave me more than cheap copper. I do the inscription on it myself with a rat-tail file. And if we can't even do that, what about a framed certificate signed by the Prime Minister, who was made wealthy by the activities of top-dressing aircraft long before he became a politician? He signed it. Now this should be done. And I'm going to call upon tonight, not any young Tom, but aviation news and wings to support this. I'd like to pick up the baton and run with it, and run with it like hell. It's not too late. It's never too late. And we've been hiding our life beneath the bushel for far too long. Not everybody realises, among you folk here tonight probably, that there has never been more than 250 pilots engaged at any one time in this industry. And yet we've lost, in fatal accidents, 60 of our people, 60 odd of our people. And that's a hell of a high accident rate to suffer in peacetime. There's no other civil activity with an equally horrendous record as that, I'm quite sure. And I would like to think that in many ways it is not dissimilar from that of the Battle of Britain, when a few courageous people saved their country from the Nazi jackboot. In a similar way, our boys have saved our country from economic stagnation, and probably worse. I would like to think that something would be done to put that right. That's a challenge to people I mentioned. I think probably my 15 minutes are up left. I've probably said too much, and no one's interjected, so I haven't let it throw anybody out. And Noel's getting a bit itchy over there. But as far as I'm concerned, I would like to think that I could borrow the famous words of Churchill when he said that never have so many owed so much to so few. That applies to our people. Gentlemen, you belong to a red-blooded organisation, and you've moved mountains in the service of your country. I'm proud to be with you tonight. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for those words, Noel. Before I move on to thank all those fellow pilots who assisted us today in that flying display, I must tell you a story about a fellow ag pilot. I won't mention any names, other than he was a guy who flew the Beaver today. A few years ago when he was flying the DC-3 from the North Island, he ran out of work and had to go to the South Island, worked down here some 6 or 7 weeks. Everything went pretty good for the first couple of weeks, and just, working away every day, a few quiet beers at night time. But after a couple of weeks, a certain sort of desire started to enter his mind, and he met a nice lady in the bar, and they ended up upstairs. I won't bore you with the details of that anymore, but when things were over, he sort of sat on the side of the bed and his conscience started to get to him. He started to think about Dot at home and the kids. And he started to cry. The motor driver said he was a hell of a mess. He said he sat on the side of that bed every night crying for the next 3 weeks. Before I move on to thank the people today, I'm going to have some trouble getting home tonight. The problem is he lives just up the road from me. I'd just like to expand on Noel's welcome to those overseas visitors here tonight and mention a couple of them who've come from the States. That's Conrad Barlow, who's the president of the Transland Corporation, who supply a lot of our application equipment, and Mr. Leland Snow, who's probably, or undoubtedly is, the world's #1 aircraft designer. Had an association with New Zealand in the past with the Snow aircraft, but unfortunately we seem to have a preference in this country for these aeroplanes. The pilots seem to need them fitted with training wheels on the front. one over just here on the right. Moving on to that air display this afternoon, I was very proud to be part of that and to see the flying all those fellows put on. If you didn't hear the names this afternoon, we had Mike starting off with the Beaver. We tried to get a tiger moth down this morning from Hastings, but that was impossible because of the strength of the wind over the ranges. And those fellows who flew the 180, there was Clyde Rowlands, who's a private pilot, he's not here. Ray Patchett, I think that's the shortest time anybody's ever had to prepare himself for a formation. Hunter McEwan, Bill Saunderson, Ben Stimpson, who flew the Fletcher towing the glider. Very revealing to see Fletcher doing a job like that. John Stevenson, who's a private pilot, I think he's very capable, who flew the Agricola. It was Dave Harding in the 14. Bob Monds, who flew the Agwagon, and showed his versatility of flying the Fletcher as well. Robin Langslow, who sort of made the 185 look as if it was fitted with a low wing. Malcolm Dell in the helicopter. And then was Shane Wareham in the 400. I think the significant thing with this display today in comparison to 5 years ago is that 5 years ago all the pilots were sort of 20-year veterans in the industry. It's good to see fellows like Shane, who's been going a couple of years now, represents a new group of pilots that are going forward, and it's obviously an indication of the improved level of work that's available to all of us. And also he was flying, his father was flying there as well on the 400 Husky. I think I heard Ray Dennis say today that there's now, I think, 6 father and son combinations working in New Zealand. Keith Turner, who gave a very good display in the Sikorsky today, very professional, very revealing. I'd say that's the least angry palm tree I've ever seen in my life. And Ian Wakeling, very capable display in the Robinson. Then Paul Fenton, who flies after the turbine AgCat, the flagship of the New Zealand ag industry. And finally, other people, Neil Madison, who made his hangar available to us today, Feilding Aerodrome Incorporated Society. And then the biggest thanks of all to Ray Dennis and Janet Geelan for a tremendous commentary here today. Undoubtedly, those two fellows have got a knowledge of the industry that surpasses anybody who's actually in the industry. Thank you all very much, and also a final thanks to Noel and his committee as well. A really great effort. Thank you.
Again. Okay, here we are at the 45th anniversary. We've got Dick Graham here, an ex-pilot. When did you start flying, Graham? Dick?
1950 in the Air Force, and then top dressing for rural. I started loader driver, doing a lot of ferry work to get your hours up then, I suppose 51, 52. Then I worked for rural till about 53, then I went for aerial work Marlborough.
Oh, right. And what sort of aircraft did you start through flying commercially in?
Tigers, then graduated on a bit of time on the Beaver, then on the Cessna.
Oh, right. Did you, what sort of areas in the country did you fly in? Where else did you sort of start? Where?
Mainly Taranaki, but a fair bit round here, based at Feilding for a while, then over the Wairarapa, Taihape, then round Marlborough, Nelson.
Oh, right. So you've certainly seen a bit of the country. Yeah, what sort of crew did you have in the old days there when you started there? Well, can't call them old days, they weren't that old, but what sort of crew did you have? Good crew to work with?
Good crew, always a good crew. A lot of hard drinking bastards, but apart from that, everybody was pretty good.
Oh, right. Oh, well, it sounds like you've enjoyed the weekend and the air show this afternoon and the rest of the night, and we hope to see you later on.
Yeah, we'll see you. Certainly hope to see you at the next one.
Yeah, I think we will. I think we will. All right, then, thanks, right? Dick, and we'll catch you later on. Later on that night, all the pilots that flew Tiger Moths got together for a huge group photo. Here's a bit of history here. There'll be a few flying hours accumulated in this group. And it's good to see them all together again in one group.
Okay, you ready? Have a smile. Squeeze that a little bit that end for me. All right, okay, that's good. Tiger Moth. Ready? Okay, do it again.
Here we are in Palmerston North 1994. We've got the 45th reunion of the Ag Pilots. Here we have Fred Sawyer. Fred Sawyer. Sir, when did you start doing your flying?
My flying actually went back to Air Force days.
Right.
I started in the Air Force. I ended up as a flying instructor in Canada for 18 months, and then went on to Mosquitoes and across to the UK. And when we came home, of course, I, like a lot of other young fellas, got involved in agricultural aviation.
Right, and what year did you start doing your first commercial top dressing in New Zealand?
Our first load we dropped on the in October of 1950.
October 1950, and since then you've flown different aircraft?
Well, we had a number of Tigers, of course. They built up, you know, as the years went by. We had 2 Cessna 180s at one stage, but then we concentrated on Fletchers.
Oh, right. And what parts of New Zealand have you flown in top dressing?
Sorry?
What parts of New Zealand have you worked in?
Well, as far as Thames Aerial Top Dressing Company was concerned, we had a license to operate north of a line which ran east-west through Huntly.
Right.
Then in 1972, I think it was, we amalgamated with Feilding Air, who, as you know, I mean, operated over...
Right. And exciting career all the way through? No mishaps, no water in the petrol or wings falling off? How you can remember?
I feel a little bit embarrassed, really, because I didn't have a mishap in the Air Force at any stage. And after 76 hours flying in our first Tiger Moth, I did, yes, run out of petrol. And did it quite an injury, but I think my pride was more injured, really, than the Tiger Moth. So that's the only accident I've been involved in.
Oh, that's good. And good, happy flying career.
Marvellous. Yes,
absolutely.
Wouldn't change it for anything.
Well, I hope you've certainly enjoyed this weekend, the flying show this afternoon we saw, and the rest of the evening tonight.
No, credit to everybody.
Excellent.
No, real credit to everybody. And I think it provides a wonderful service, a function like this. I've seen guys here tonight I haven't seen for 30 years.
That's right.
You know, and
that's
it's
right.
tremendous.
Yeah, and come back in
so
5 years' time.
Keep it up in 5 years and I'll be here.
Okay, very good.
Here, Aussie James recounts a few anecdotes from his flying career.
I understand that we heard some stories tonight that you tried to convert a Tiger Moth into a float plane. Is this correct, Ozzy?
Well, yes, and I selected the right time of the year. It was Christmas time, and there was a flight over Rotorua with a flight of 8 aircraft to celebrate. We were dropping sweets for the children on the main street and that sort of stuff. And I took a Tiger Moth. I was careless. I didn't check the fuel. It was the last airplane out, and I ran out of fuel about a quarter mile from the airfield, from the shore of the lake. So I had to ditch the thing, and it was filmed. Farmer was filming his family, so I got a film of it, and it was quite spectacular.
That's good. Now, have you got floats put on the aircraft now, or up?
No, I've got a Pimpson line on the side of it.
Pimpson line on the side of it. Oh, well, at least you survived the day anyway. That's the main thing.
Yes.
Okay, Ozzy, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the evening so far.
It's been tremendous. It's been a very wonderful event.
Absolutely. All the old friends turning up, and hopefully we'll see them in 5 years' time.
Yes, I think Guy Robbie struck it well that there's a lot of people here that have done an enormous amount of effort for New Zealand. Not right. So he's hit it on the nose.
Yep. Okay, and hopefully the boys will get some recognition sometime in the future.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Ozzy, good one. Okay, and here we got Derek Turnbull, an ex-aviator. When did you start to learn to fly there, Derek?
I learned flying, began during the war, and I finished up after the war with the Hawke's Bay Aero Club. Hostilities ended before I'd finished my training during the war, and so that's where I finished in 1947 when I finished my training.
Right. And when did you actually start sort of doing commercial flying with in the top dressing field?
That was in 1950. I bought my own Tiger Moth. I bought a Tiger Moth from Rotorua. It belonged to a chap named Blackmore in Rotorua. And this was 1950. And I was the first one to start top dressing in Hawke's Bay after Carruthers.
Oh, right. And how long were you flying for?
It was from late 1949 until 63. So I finished up in 63.
Right, and whereabouts were you flying? Just in the Hawke's Bay area, or did you do much of that part of New Zealand at all?
Hawke's Bay, up to Gisborne, down as far as Dannyburg.
And was it Tiger Moths, not the only aircraft you flew in, you're flying it?
We started off with Tiger Moths. At one stage I had 4 Tiger Moths. I finished up, I had 2 Cessnas, 1 Fletcher, and we later on we had four Piper Cubs, two Piper Porties and 2 Piper Cubs,
and
Piper Super Cubs.
And what would have been your favourite aircraft?
Well,
they all were.
The one that was the best one of the lot, really, after the Tiger Moth. Right. The Tiger Moth was the cracker.
Yeah.
Would be the little Piper Super Cub.
Oh, right.
Piper Super Cub.
And how many hours do you reckon you've clocked up over the years, sort of, the old top dressing? Quite a few?
It would be many, many thousands. I was never a great one, never a strict logbook fella. I was it's like driving a car. And you don't get out of a car and then clock up your hours.
Right.
Well, I was much the same.
And have you enjoyed this weekend with the air show this afternoon and tonight's?
Have I ever? It's been really marvellous. And this is the first reunion I've actually been to. I should have my hands back, but it's the first one I've been to, and I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Absolutely.
Really great.
So have we. Okay, we'll sign off and hope you enjoy the rest of the night, and we'll see you later on then.
Thank you for the interview.
Okay, no problem. Perfect. John Brazier, how are you tonight, sir?
Not so bad, thank you.
When did you start your flying career in the old top dressing outfits?
On May the 27th, 1949.
And what sort of aircraft did you fly in when you started off?
Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moths. Whereabouts?
In Clyde, near Christchurch.
Oh, right. And did you sort of go into any other aircraft at all?
I flew 84 different kinds of airplanes.
84? So you would have clocked up a few hours?
That's right, I did.
All right. And was the Tiger Moth was the one you started in, and what you go onto after that?
Well, I was a production test pilot, so I flew all sorts of airplanes.
Oh, I see. Oh, right. So you would have...
I was in the Air Force too.
Right, so you would have tried out all the aircraft before the pilots or the ground crews got to actually do the flying with them?
After they've been overhauled.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
Just make sure they're all right.
Just make sure they're okay. And how many tons of super do you reckon you've dropped in your career?
Oh, I wouldn't have a clue. I did over 8,000 hours. 8,000
hours, that's amazing, absolutely amazing. And have you enjoyed the weekend so far?
Very much.
Excellent. Did you see the air show today? And,
yes, I did.
And tonight's festivities still carrying on?
That's right.
Seeing a few old mates and talk about the old days, eh?
That's right. I like Guy Robbie's speech.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Well done, it was too, well done.
It was indeed.
All right, John, thanks for your little talk, and I hope you enjoy this tonight, and we'll catch you later on.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm a bloody loader driver for a flower shop.
Okay, looks like we've got a bit of a personality here. We've got Mr. Bruce Aiken here. When did you start flying here, Bruce?
Top dressing in 1953.
And what in?
Tiger Moth.
Tiger Moth, yeah. and whereabouts were you flying?
Well, mainly in South Taranaki, based in Howrah.
Howrah?
Yeah.
And did you sort of fly any other aircraft in your career apart from the Tigers?
Well, Piper Cubs, Pawnee, 180, and ended up with air trucks.
Oh, right. And no little mishaps you can record?
Yeah, I had.
Do you want to tell us one about it?
Well, I had 3 violent actions in 32 years.
Oh, right, yep. Oh, well, you still had to enjoy the weekend?
Yeah, sure.
That's the main thing. How many hours do you think you clocked up over the years?
21,000 I did altogether.
21,000 flying hours?
Yeah.
That's amazing, absolutely amazing. And how many tons do you reckon you've dropped?
Well, if you multiply 20,000 by 5 an hour.
Yeah, 100,000 odd tons then.
That's right.
That's not a bad load, not a bad load.
Right.
Oh, well, very well done, Bruce, and I hope you enjoy the show today. And,
I am enjoying it.
And the rest of the evening tonight, and get a bit of music and talk to the old mates about the past and have a good time.
Thanks very much
Thank you very much for your opportunity.
Thank you. Okay.
Well, here we've got Ian Wakeling here, another pioneer-type pilot. When did you start flying?
1959.
And what were you flying in when you started your career in the old commercial?
Piper Cubs for super and the Tiger for seeding.
All right, and whereabouts are you?
Wanganui.
Wanganui, and just the Wanganui area, or have you been in the other parts of the country sort of dropping the stuff?
Mainly the Wanganui, Taihape area, and on top dressing and all over New Zealand with helicopters.
Oh, excellent. Helicopters. Bit of flying in the Taroos?
Heaps.
Heaps of flying. Yeah, I think I might have seen your face around there once or twice, dropping in the old hut loads and that. How'd you find the helicopter flying in comparison to the fixed wing?
It's good. You can stop and back up.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the weekend today and the air show this afternoon, and we'll carry on and see if we can find some other old-timers we can talk to.
Good, thanks a lot. Have a good...
Okay. Okay, here we got Bruce Thompson. Hi, Bruce. How's it going tonight?
Oh, good, thanks. Very good.
When did you start your flying career?
Oh, about 45 years ago now, but I started top dressing in 54.
All right, and what sort of aircraft were you flying in?
Tiger Moths initially, and then Beavers, and then on Lodestar, and finished on Dakotas.
Oh, excellent. So you would have clocked up a few hours in the old Tiger?
Not too many in Tiger, probably 1,000 or so in a Tiger.
Right.
Maybe 1,000 in a Beaver, and the rest in Lodestars and Dakotas.
And what parts of the country did you fly in?
Well, I was always based, my home was in Gisborne, but we worked Dannyverk, Napier, Masterton, out of here sometimes, and Wanganui, New Plymouth. So, but most of the time was out of the Gisborne district.
Oh, that sounds good. And how many hours do you think you would have clocked up over the years?
Oh, I've done just gone 24,000.
24,000. We had one gentleman before with 21,000 hours. Now we've got one for 24. That's not bad. Looks like it's creeping up.
Yeah.
And how many thousands of tons do you reckon you would have?
Oh, I don't know. You multiply that by about 10 and you'll be about right.
That'd be about right, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, excellent. Oh, well, looks like you had a good career, and I hope you enjoyed the weekend. And what's left of the night?
Yes, it's been very good. Yeah,
okay, then.
Good to see old faces that you haven't seen for many years.
That's dead right, and we might see you here another 5 years' time.
I
next
hope
one.
so. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Bruce, thanks very much. Good. Wolf Megan here. When did you start your flying career, Wolf?
When did I start flying first?
Right.
Oh, I started during the war years, you mean?
No, the old commercial top dressing.
Oh, commercial top dressing. Well, I came into Masterton in 1949.
Right.
Christmas 1949, and started really 1950, January 1950.
Right.
With air contracts.
What's the aircraft were you flying in?
We were flying Tiger Moths then. We had 7 Tiger Moths in the air, or 6 Tiger Moths and 1 Fox Moth.
Oh, excellent.
They owned at that time.
Right. Any other aircraft you've flown in the old top dressing?
Oh yes, later on of course. Well, I flew with air contracts the first 5 years, and then Fred Jolly and I set up in a company of our own called Air Services Wairarapa.
Right.
And I bought the second Fletcher to come to the Wairarapa. Bought that brand new. I flew that one myself, and then I employed 2 other pilots, Harry Mangum and Neil Middlemas, and we bought a Cessna, and the Piper Pawnee.
Excellent.
So then we had the 3 aircraft flying.
Oh, absolutely. So you would have clocked up a few hours overall?
Clocked up a few, yes. Yeah. Oh, and then eventually I sold my shares to my partner, and they sold out to John Rosengrave, who now owns Air Services Wairarapa.
That's right, and it's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. That firm's still going. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Oh, it's good. So you would have seen a few pilots go past in your career and a few aircraft?
Yeah, quite a lot of pilots. A lot of them we don't know. They just come into this industry and flew for a while and went out again. Some are still here.
Right.
The odd one had an accident, got killed, but we still remember those old days.
Absolutely. Oh, well, I hope you had a good weekend this weekend on the old air show, and what's left of tonight. And
it's great.
Yeah,
been great. Yeah.
See a few mates and talk about the old days in the past.
Bring back a lot of memories.
Absolutely. Okay, Wolf. Thank you very much. We'll catch you later on.
Fine.
Very good. Good man. Russell, I'm not going to pronounce your surname. It's almost as bad as mine, but not quite. When did you start your flying career, Russell?
Down in Gore, at about 54, 55.
Oh, excellent. And what sort of aircraft did you start flying commercially?
Tiger Moths for the first 3 years.
Right.
Then on to Pipers and just graduated up from there.
Oh, excellent. And sort of just in the Gore area you've flown over the years, or any other parts of New Zealand?
Gore, 2 or 3 years in Fiordland with Ian Ritchie and Mosburn with Bill Hewitt, then up to Central with Les Davidson and Graham McLeod.
What made you sort of take up this aviation type flying field? what is it that draws everybody? We've got nearly 400 people here tonight, and all sort of pilots or involved. What makes a guy sort of want to get involved with this sort of stuff?
I don't really know. It's just something that happens, eh?
Right, yeah. No one can sort of explain it, and yeah. But you must enjoy it, though.
Well, I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it, and where are you at the moment? What are you?
I'm working in New Guinea. Yeah, been backwards and forwards there for about 13 years.
Oh, doing the old oil company work?
No, just general charter. Well, oil fields are involved in it, but mining, seismic, logging.
Oh, excellent. And so you're on the choppers now. When did you start on the choppers? When did you leave the actual fixed wing and go on to helicopters?
I had about 8 years on fixed wing and then went on to helicopters, so must have been about 64.
And what was the attraction of helicopters?
65 on helicopters.
Right. What was the attraction of making you go to helicopters?
Tim Wallace said he'd give me a rating for nothing if I worked for him for 3 years.
That's fair enough. Fair enough answer. Yeah, right. Oh well, did you enjoy the show this afternoon?
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, not bad. Pretty rough riding conditions, but the boys managed all right.
Yeah, it was good. Oh yeah, some of the new stuff was bloody marvellous, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh well, Russell, I hope you enjoy the rest of the night and catch up with a few mates there and have a few beers and tell a few lies.
Good. Yeah, that's right. We'll tell a few lies, all right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Here we got another pioneer in the old aviation. We got Colin James. When did you start your flying career, Colin?
Well, I started with my own aeroplane with my brother Ozzy in Tolaga Bay, and there we bought an Air Force One, and I learned to fly with at Hastings down there with Vanderpump, and I could just get up and down. And
right, and whereabouts did you start doing this?
What year?
Yeah. No, whereabouts? What part of New Zealand were you in?
Oh, we're in Tolaga Bay at that stage of it.
Tolaga Bay.
Yes.
And what year was this? When was it?
That'd be just after the war.
Just after the war. And was it Tiger Moth?
Tiger Moth, yes. It was before we top dressing had started.
Right, so you guys sort of actually, well, for want of a better word, invented the old top dressing sort of aircraft?
Yes, my brother did, Ozzy. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right. And after the old Tiger Moth, did you go on to any other aircraft?
No, I didn't do very much flying at all.
Just on the development stages?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. And did you see much of the country sort of doing this sort of work?
Not in those days. It was later on. I came in to the aviation in about 1947 or 48.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy the show this afternoon?
Yes, excellent. Yeah.
Not bad, eh?
Really good.
All right. Well, thanks, Colin, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the night and meet up with a few people and tell a few lies and a few jokes and reminisce about the old days.
Not too many lies.
Okay, thanks,
right,
Colin.
good. Thanks.
Here we got Lindsay King. When did you start your flying career, Lindsay?
I started in 1949, Auckland Aero Club, learned to fly there, and after I'd done about 80 hours, Doug Gregg, who started aircraft service, was going to run out of wartime pilots, so he selected 5 of us who had A endorsed licenses in 80 hours, and we drove the loading trucks and went on to the various top dressing strips and got a commercial license, and we're into Tiger Moths.
And that would have been just after the war in the early 50s?
Yeah, I joined the company in 1952 and did my apprenticeship with them on various strips, and I think I stayed my first load in 1953. 1953,
and how many hours do you reckon you would have flown in your career?
I don't know, about 4,000 a year, eh?
Right,
yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
and,
mainly in Tiger Moths.
Just the Tiger Moths,
yeah.
Right. You didn't do any other flying in the other aircraft, the other types of aircraft?
Just a little bit in Fletchers, but at that stage I'd given the game away any rate. And,
right.
And so, but it was mainly Tiger Moths I flew.
Oh, excellent. And just in the Auckland area, or were you...
Yeah, we flew from Raglan up to Kaikohe. We had 3 units, 2 aircraft to a unit. Right. And we had a unit from Raglan to Mangere, 1 up to Mangadoroto, and one from Mangadoroto North.
Oh, excellent. And good times?
Oh, wonderful times, yeah. We knew all the pubs in the north, and never put a foot wrong, and we used to go onto the strip, and we used to always have a carton of beer and half a dozen packets of tobacco. That's when
lubrication.
Oh, yeah, had to have it too. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Thanks very much indeed.
Okay, I hope you enjoy the air show this afternoon.
Yes, I did. I thought the flying was...
Don Ursig, when did you start your flying career, Don?
I started in 1953.
1953?
Yes. In Tiger Moss in Tamaroo with an outfit called Aerial Farming.
Right.
Yeah.
And then where'd you go on after that?
Oh, I left them in 1955 and joined Rural Aviation in New Plymouth.
Right. Still flying Tigers?
Still flying
No,
them?
no. When you left?
No, we went on to Cessna 180s.
Right.
Went over to Cessna 180s.
Right.
And then I went on to the Beaver with Rural.
Right.
Over there.
Right. And what was your favourite aircraft out of the three, you reckon?
The Beaver.
The Beaver.
Yeah.
Plenty of power?
Plenty of power, pilot comfort, ton of room, and a beautiful aeroplane to fly.
Excellent. And how many hours do you reckon you've clocked up over the years?
In my logbook, I've got about 24,000, but it's a lot more because in the early days we didn't used to put them down.
Right. And any little anecdotes you can think of in your career, like water to petrol, or wings falling off, or anything crazy like that at all?
Oh, I had an incident years ago that I lost an engine.
You lost an engine?
Yeah, the engine prop blade came off and tore the motor out of the Cessna 180.
All right. No damage to yourself?
No damage to myself, bar pride and nerves.
And where were you at the time?
I was at Basil Everett's place in a place called Tarney,
right.
Over by Piatura.
Right.
Yeah.
And was on takeoff or
no,
was it just...
I was sewing at the time, and the motor actually came out, and it landed in the farmer's driveway, and he'd just cut trees down, and it hit the stumps in his driveway and shattered, which was fortunate because it was in line to go straight through the side of his house where their young baby was asleep.
Oh, that was fortunate, right.
Yeah.
And whereabouts did you land?
I finished up in a paddock down the road, down the ways of it. But there's one thing that made me particularly stick to Cessnas after that. Right. Had it been another aircraft, I don't think I could have got away with the result that I got away with.
Right. Yeah. And what parts of the country have you flown in?
All over New Zealand.
All over New Zealand?
Yeah. With Rural Aviation, we had widespread operations, and I've literally sprayed and top dressed from North Cape to the Bluff, from East Coast to West Cape, and they had me training young pilots. And when I trained them, I went to the area as they were working and stayed with them and worked with them for a while till they settled down.
Excellent. And was fixed wings only in fixed wings, or did you go into rotor wings and helicopters?
No, for some unknown reason, I never fancied rotor wings. I like to look out and see 30 or 40 feet of solid wing underneath me, not going around on top of me.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good. So you enjoyed your career then?
I have, to getting forcibly retired through the company collapsing.
Right.
And the only other unfortunate thing in my flying career was indoctrinating my son with aviation.
Right.
And he's now got his own business in airplanes in Australia.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed the air show today and what's the rest of tonight.
Oh, yeah, we have thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'll look at the camera for this one. The only thing that bothers me tonight is looking how old everyone else is getting when I'm still so young.
That sounds like a bit of a lie, but we'll let it go on this occasion. We'll see you in 5 years' time, Don, and
I hope so.
At the 50th.
I hope so. I definitely hope so.
Absolutely. Okay, mate. Well, thanks very much, and we'll see you then. We got Noel Mangum, the organiser and the chief whip, the numero uno and the number one honcho for this weekend. How's it going so far?
Well, it's been marvellous, hasn't it?
I think it has been. And you enjoyed the whole weekend?
Yeah, I have. Anyway, I hope the rest have.
Right, yep. And when did you start your flying career, Noel?
Oh, way back in about 1949.
49. And Tigers?
Tigers. Learned to fly in Tigers in a little place called Gore.
Right. And the Tigers, and on to any other aircraft at all?
Oh, various from then on.
Yeah, what sorts of aircraft have you flown in?
Right. Well, Tigers, all the various light aircraft.
Right. Cessnas and all the usual Beavers?
Yes. Anything. All the light aircraft.
All the light aircraft. And what sort of parts of the country have you flown in?
All over New Zealand.
All over New Zealand?
All over New Zealand.
And how many hours do you reckon you've clocked up over your career?
Not quite 23,000.
Not quite 23. That's not a bad record. And a few ton of linemen.
And I'm still here.
That's the main thing. Yeah. And a few ton of linemen would have gone down too, wouldn't it?
A lot of line.
A lot of bullshit too.
And a few beers, I'd say.
And a few beers.
Oh, that's good. Oh, well, I hope you, the weekend's been going well for you,
I think
and
it's been
everything's been
marvellous.
okay. And,
As I said in there, it's the smiles on the face.
Right, absolutely. And hopefully we'll see you here, and you'll be organising the 50th.
I think I'll go to the 50th.
You'll go to the 50th.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Noel, thanks very much.
Okay,
And we'll catch you in 5 years' time.
Okay, thanks.
Here we got Pat and Lil. And how's the organising be going this weekend?
It's been very enjoyable. Everyone's enjoyed themselves. It's been because we had it here 5 years ago. It's been a little bit easy, but it's been lovely, and we've thoroughly enjoyed it.
And you're both airmen's wives?
Yeah, Lil is. I'm a manager's wife.
You're a manager's wife. And how do you feel about your husband flying, or in the old days when he was flying? How did you feel about it?
Never worried me. It was just like driving a motor car.
Right, and when did you sort of get involved in the aviation? Was it when you met your husband?
Yeah. When I met him and he was out flying, yes.
Right, and did he bring you a few loads and a bit of super, a few perks and stuff in the old days?
Oh, we got a few loads of super on the garden, yes.
Okay, and you have a good weekend this weekend, and
Yep.
Everything's been going well?
Yep, marvellous. Had a great time.
Okay, catch up on a few new faces or old faces, and
well, you've met people that you've known for 40, dare I say. Dick started in 1951, and people from that era you've met, and it's been great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, a good weekend, and we'll see you in 5 years' time.
In 5 years' time, we'll be here, same place, same time. That's what you think.
Okay, thanks, ladies. We'll see you later. Miss Hartley, when did you start flying, Dennis?
Oh, I started flying when I was 14.
14, and whereabouts?
In Wanganui.
Wanganui?
Yeah, I was going to school and at Rangatiki College, or Martin District High School in those days. And that was back in 1956, 57, I think.
Right, and what did you start doing your top dressing career in? What sort of aircraft?
Well, I started off in training in Tigers, and then went to Piper Cubs,
right.
And then went to Fletcher's,
right.
And then from there went to Beavers and Cessnas, Agwagons, 180s.
The whole gamut, basically.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how many hours do you reckon you would have plucked up over the years?
Oh, between 15 and 20,000.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Yeah. And what parts of the country are you flying?
Pretty well. Well, I've flown all over New Zealand,
right.
Everywhere. Right from North Auckland right to the southern tip of the South Island, even down to Stewart Island.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed the weekend.
Yeah, lovely, and it's actually a marvellous occasion, and it's really great to have everyone here, and
right.
Old faces, and
right.
And people that I haven't seen before for a long, long time.
Absolutely, yeah. It's good to catch up with the old mates and tell a few lies and have a few beers.
Oh, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay,
great
we'll catch
occasion.
you in 5 years' time.
Okay.
Same place.
Right.
All right, thanks very much. Okay, well, here we are at the 45th anniversary of Ag Pilots, and here we have the other side, the backbone of the guys, the guys, the pilots' wives. Your husband a pilot, madam?
He is indeed.
And how did you feel about his flying career?
Took a bit of getting used to.
Right.
He was an ag pilot when I met him, and now he is an airline pilot.
Airline pilot? Oh, yeah, so not dropping passengers anymore?
I hope not.
Right, okay. We'll try this lady over here. She's trying to sneak away here. Is your husband a pilot?
Well, yes, he is.
And who's he fly for?
Well, he had his own company for a while, but he's retired now,
right.
So he's quite safe.
So what do you think about him flying?
I never worried about it. Never worried me at all.
Never worried at all? Long nights away from home?
A few, occasionally, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, no problems?
No.
No problems. Well, you, madam, any problems with flying while your husband was away?
No, not really. I'm quite used to it. He's been top dressing now for 17 years.
Right.
Flies for Field Air and Kite Hire.
Right.
I think you do get used to it after a while. It's sort of something that...
Lonely nights and...
Oh, I don't think you have any lonely nights. I don't find that a problem. No, I think they do early mornings, getting up early in the morning, yes. Yeah.
Okay then, all right, we'll try to get a little mob over here we can sort of sneak into. And your husband's been flying all their careers?
Oh, mine was top dressing for 20 years, but now in the airlines as well.
Right. So he's not dropping super, he's dropping passengers.
No, 20 years is long enough.
20 years is long enough. What about yours, madam?
He's been flying for 17 years, still top dressing.
Still top dressing.
In Whangarei.
In Whangarei. How do you feel about top dressing and flying?
Fine, it's good. He enjoys it.
Enjoys it?
Yeah.
Does the wife enjoy it though?
Doesn't worry me at all, as long as he's happy.
As long as he's happy. That's good.
21 years.
Your husband will fly for 21 years?
Yeah.
No problems?
No.
No long nights?
No, never worried.
Never worried, not a worry. Okay. And yours?
My husband is retired from top dressing now, but he was top dressing for over 20 years.
Over 20 years?
Yes.
All over New Zealand or?
Mostly in Northland and in Iran and Australia.
Australia as well?
Yes, and Iran.
In Iran, so he was away for a little while?
Well, we all went when he went to Iran.
That sounds good. And there's no problems with your husband's away through up in the years sort of doing all these crazy acrobatics in the aircraft and that?
No, better than on the road. That's dead right.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, ladies, for an enjoyable sort of a type of interview, and we hope to see you here in 5 years' time.
Certainly. We'll be here.
Later that night, everybody got back inside, grabbed their partners, and danced around the floor to the 25-piece band. So finally, the weekend came to an end. The weekend of the 45th Ag Pilots Reunion in Palmerston North, 1994. The cream of New Zealand's top dressing pilots from the 50s onwards were all there to celebrate their flying careers. In 5 years' time, we'll be back again for the 50th reunion of New Zealand's top dressing pilots. And we hope we'll see you all there again as well.